you know, if you want to fly somewhere and have a blast but not be intrusive, or you're worried about your local laws, I think this is the kind of this is one of those kinds of quads that really fits in that niche really well.
G'day, Stu from UAVfutures here, and today, well, we have a micro that might possibly have too much power. What we're looking at is the Reddevil from eachine. It's very close to the Sailfly or the Toothpick, that style of tiny little micro quad that is absolutely insane power. So I know these have been very, very popular in the past, or this style anyway. What we're going to do, we're going to stick it on the bench, quickly break it down, find out, is this going to be a good component quad? Is this going to work for you? It's doing some stuff differently. And then the fun stuff, we'll take it out of the field, fly it around and have a good time, see what the other boys think about it as well, and find out, have they done enough? Is it better getting this one? Should you get like the Sailfly? We'll talk about all that sort of stuff, and then let's kick it off, dive right in, look at the text and the specs, and then go have some fun. And I'm going to say, first things first, if we stick this on the scales, it's coming in at 35, oh, that's not even in the roof shot. Good one, Stuart. It's coming in at 35 grams there, so a pretty light quadcopter. And if you're worried about one of those places where you need to be under 100 grams, something like this with the rules and regulations coming in a lot of places around the world, if you want a light quadcopter that still has bucket loads of power, well, this bad boy might be for you. It comes with it runs a 2 or a 3S. Let me go get the battery. All right, I did it. It's coming in at about 62 grams. So definitely, if you want a little park ripper you can take out, fly around, it's not going to intimidate everybody and is ultra light. Well, this thing, it's not going to do very much damage whatsoever. It's very quiet, I should say. So, and if you're worried about the weight limits, well, this is a sort of quad that you should be flying. Now, I definitely don't think it's made for indoors, because it's definitely made for outdoors. You take it out of the box, out to the field, go rip around in a little park, have some fun. But let's do it. Kick it off. We've done the overview. What we should do, let's break it down, have a look at the components. First things first, you're going to notice there's no prop guards on this, so that means we've got some bigger bladed props on here, some 2-inch props, just little bi-blade ones, and they're pretty old school. These remind me of like the original Parrot. I don't know what it was called, Parrot VR or something like that. Really old school props. Underneath, you can see it's all made up in this pretty much one unibody little base plate frame. It's very, very light. It seems to be robust enough. This thing's so light, it's just going to bounce anyway when it does do a crash. Underneath those props, we have some crazy 1102 8,700 motors, and I've got to say, this thing absolutely does have a ton of power, so probably too much power, and you're going to see that when we're flying around in the flight footage as well. And then, of course, moving towards the middle, we've got some little stars of the show. So we've just got our normal little F4B board, whatever, in there with OSD, 6 amp ESCs or 6 amp bursts, 5 amps normal anyway, little ESC in the middle. And I do have like the bind and fly version, so you can get, you know, some different versions. Mine bound up to my FreeSky radio. I'll link them all down below anyway. But yeah, the range on here is, I didn't have any issues when I was flying my thing around, neither did the other boys. On top of that, something I do like, we've got a little FPV camera from Cadex. I think Cadex makes some cool stuff, and also a changeable VTX antenna, and also a changeable VTX on the back. So this bad boy can be boosted up to 200 milliwatts. It's nice to have those options. And then of course we've got our canopy. Something different with this one than versus something like the Sailfly. You've got a little adjustable canopy piece at the front right there, so you couldn't do that on the others. And I've seen some videos where they have like loose cameras or something, and they were saying that's where some jello's coming in. Mine, let me tell you, is not really moving anywhere, but I did get some jello. So I don't think the jello is coming from the camera. I think it's more going to be from the tune, and just this quad might have too much power for what it's got. You know, it needs to probably tone down a little bit, or needs a little bit of work on the tune anyway. Now what we should do, let's have a look at the design of the thing, and it's really not doing anything too special. It's pretty standard. You've got your little clip on the bottom for your battery. Your battery simply slides in like that, ready to rock and roll. That's how I should have waited, actually. Would have made it a lot easier. Then you're going to be off to the races. I do like the little addition of being able to adjust your camera, because I think when you've got something that can go this fast, that's a must. And then the rest is pretty self-explanatory. It's not really breaking any boundaries or pushing any new developments. It's really just a copy of the Sailfly, the Toothpick style of frames, and yeah, that's kind of as far as the design goes. In terms of the quality, well, I'm kind of on two levels here, because the quality of the flight wasn't as good as I was liking it to be. I think the quality of the components in here is fine, you know, the motors, the props, all that sort of stuff. I like the camera, I like the VTX. We've got an XT60, we've got a little cap on the end. All those are nice little additions, but I do think they need to work a little bit on the tune, because whatever's going on here, and I look, it might be the camera mount or something, whatever they need to do, it's got a few oscillations, and you're going to see that in the flight footage. Personally, for me, me, I found it a little bit frustrating, and Jono was kind of on the fence, but Tony seemed to be fine with it, and he was flying around having an awesome time. So that's where it's going to be crucial that you watch the flight footage and you watch what the other boys think and listen to what they say as well. And then, yeah, that kind of brings us on to the pros and the cons. And I'm going to say pros. Let's do the pros first. It's super light. It has ridiculous amounts of power for something so small. I mean, the power to weight ratio, or the thrust to weight ratio, whatever you want to say, for the 60 grams or whatever, it is ridiculously fast. You can fly it around wherever you want. You're probably not going to get in too much trouble. It's very quiet. I like the camera that it's got on here. I like you can change the VTX. I like that it's got an XT30 finally. The video is clear. And then some of the things I would like to change. Number one, it's probably the fact that these props, I did have one of them spin off and cause me to crash because they just press on props. Now that's kind of a design fault of all the craft that go like this, the Sailfly toothpick, all of them that go like that. I would recommend if you just drill through the top maybe, or if you put a little bit of hot glue or something, if the shafts are a bit longer, there needs to be a bit of a workaround to keep the props from spinning off the top on that. And then of course the actual flight experience. So I found it a little bit jittery on about full throttle. So I've seen some other reviews where, you know, you can see people flying around at 40-50%, and that's good because it does feel good there. But when you really go as fast as you can, you go to 100% throttle, that's when you start to see some more, I guess, it wobbling around, and it doesn't look as good as it does in the lower half of the throttle. So then definitely need to add some TPA or do a little bit of work on the tune. And the OSD, if you need to go into beta flight, you should probably be changing some of the things on the OSD. It's got stupid things like the crosshair on there and a whole bunch of meaningless junk which really doesn't help you fly. The OSD should be simple. You don't need any of that long range or telemetry or whatever you want to do with this thing. It should just be a simple little park flyer that's a lot of fun and super quick. That's what they should be focusing on. But that's it on the bench. That's the boring stuff. Let's do the fun stuff now. Let's jump out to the field. I'm going to link this down below as well as the Sailfly. And I kind of do want to talk about the Sailfly towards the end of this video as well. So make sure you're watching through there, because if you're going to buy these, make sure you watch that and hear what I have to say at the end of the video. But let's do it now. Go fly this thing out in the field, have some fun, rip it around, show you some DVR, and see what the other boys think. So let's do it in 3, 2, 1. Radio out here in the field while the boys are going to get their drones out of the tree. What we're flying around, the little Reddevil from eachine, and I can't wait to see how this thing goes with these bigger props. It's actually something I'm really excited about. So let's do it, show you some DVR, see what the other boys think, and rip this little thing around.
It's like, it's the size of my thumbnail.
What, so you're not scared of it?
No.
Oh, what
Okay.
a beast! What a beast!
Let's put some poke.
Oh, show a bent prop.
What do you reckon?
That is fast.
Does it look stupid?
No, it looks out of place because it's too fast for its size.
Radio, here we go. So this is that exact footage you just saw line of sight, and I want to say, watching this back, you'd think, gee, that seems a bit slower watching this back or something, Stuart, which is why it was really important to show you that line of sight footage as well. So you can see this thing is absolutely screaming around, but when it was on the goggles, or I guess when I'm watching this DVR back, it just seems, I don't know, just sort of standard, but definitely when you're watching this thing and you see it in real life, you realize just how much power this thing has, and I'm going to say that might be this quad's biggest downfall. Usually, yes, more power, faster quads, all that sort of stuff, but when it comes to this one, the Reddevil, that power that it has is not really put to the best of use. So I found there was a few oscillations, and you know, it was fine around this sort of mid throttle range when you're just sort of coasting, but who wants to do that? I want to really push it to its limits, and I found when I dropped the throttle and I really pushed the hammer and pushed the throttle all the way up to 100, I should say, it just kind of got some oscillations, and it didn't make it the best flying experience. Now look, you be the judge. Do you think it looks terrible? Is this something you'd be happy to fly around with? Does it look like your normal craft? It might be like a little bent prop normally, or it depends. Some people want absolutely spectacular, perfectly tuned quads. Other people were happy to sacrifice a little bit for performance, all that sort of stuff. But for me, I think if it's a bite and fly, they should do a little bit more work to make it fly a little bit nicer, because it seems a little bit of a waste to have this much power and not being able to use it. So I found that part a little bit disappointing. In a moment, we're going to have a crash and we'll hand it over to the other boys, and you can see when I was flying around, one of the props simply came off the top. So that part was a little bit annoying. And that bench seat, I did feel like I could put this thing anywhere because it's so tiny. So you can see here under that gap at speed, I was a little bit chuffed with myself. But overall, I'm going to say average flight experience. Not my favorite. It had plenty of power, but I really do wish they'd get the tune out. Everything else I'm kind of happy with, but yeah, I just wish they'd work a little bit more on the tune. And here you can see this is when one of the props came off, which also that part I could find would be a little bit frustrating if I was constantly having to hunt for props. What we should do, let's hand it over to the other boys and see what they think about it as well. John is about to go pick this up for me, but I think that's a loose prop. That's what it felt like it was going, and then after some throttle, it just came off the top, but we'll see. Oh, I thought that's where my thing was.
It's not Australia unless you got a loose plugger floating around.
Yeah, I didn't like a plugger might mean something else in a few different countries. I'm not sure.
What else could it mean other than like, a thong? I know thong means different things.
Yeah, thong means flip flop over here.
If we're in America and you find a loose thong on the side of a road, that's much more concerning.
How far away was I?
You were like all the way over here, man. Yep, still plugged in and missing a prop. There we go.
That's pretty much exactly what I thought happened.
That's the push fit props, man. There we go, unplugged.
Yeah, I got another prop.
Yeah?
Let me get you one. I'm pretty sure I got another prop.
They're the 65mm ones, I think. Are they? Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
They actually come with a bunch of spare props.
That's good.
Alright, we need that one. There you go.
Yep. Props in. Oh, there we go. They did push on pretty tight. That's not too bad. There we go. I got to double check them.
Okay, sure.
I don't have much trust in push fit props, but you know, hey.
Okay. First impressions, Reddevil. You saw it in the air, and then we went to have a repair, or I guess putting the props on, and now I want to know what you think as well.
What do I think about it?
Before you actually fly it.
Okay, so yeah, I picked it up before, and the first thing I noticed is it's so light, man. It feels like nothing. It's deceptively light. It looks like it should be heavier, but it's like probably. I'd like to see what it weighs up on the scales. I reckon it might even be
I'll put it on the screen anyway.
Yeah.
Have you guess? What do you think?
Oh, geez, I got no ballpark figure on that. I don't know how much they're supposed to weigh.
I'm going to say 50 grams, but
Yeah.
I have no idea. I have to wait.
Lighter
We
than
actually haven't
helium.
put this on the bench yet. And what did you think about the speed when you saw it line of sight?
When I saw it line of sight, it doesn't look like it should go that fast, and it goes that fast, and it's a little bit weird.
You know,
Deceptively fast, like it doesn't look like it should go that quick, and it's like flying around like... Once it gets flying, it sounds and looks almost like a 3-inch, like maybe a lower end sort of 3-inch. Like, yeah, it really hooks.
all right, ready to put it on the sticks and fly it around?
Yeah, man.
Let's do it. I'll set up. There's my radio.
Gee whiz. All right, let's get a handle on this.
Okay. Why are you saying gee whiz?
It definitely doesn't punch out like level. Yeah, I can see what you're saying about it being jittery. It's definitely very jittery. It dips a fair bit when you throttle out. In terms of like the power that it has, it feels like a 3-inch. It catches out of like dives and stuff real easy. Oh man, if it wasn't jittery, man, this thing would be rad. Let's dive this light post over here.
Kind of ruining it.
Yeah, they really are a little bit, but woo! Yeah, if I was a little bit more controlled on the tune, if it can be tuned in, this would be like really freaking rad to fly, man. Like really rad. I would be having an absolute blast. Oh no, I'm good. Am I good?
Oh, you are.
How am I still good?
You got some garbage on your lens.
Yeah, I can see that.
Do a quick roll.
Nah.
Do a punch. You might be able to get rid of it.
Nah, I don't think it's coming
You're going to have to
off.
just fly with that on, mate.
Yeah. I'm just going to make some great DVR. Hey, guys, you loving that piece of crap on the lens? Looks good.
all right, Johnny, more about the quad. So,
yeah, more about the quad.
Things you don't like.
Yeah, the tune is really rough. I don't like the push fit props because I'm always worried that they're going to come off, and as you had before on your flight, yeah, you know, completely gone as you're going up and over some trees. That could have been really bad.
Yep.
That could have.
Things you like?
Things I do like, the power. Oh, you know, channel my inner Jeremy Clarkson and be like, power. This comes under that whole, like, that category of things I like where, you know, if you want to fly somewhere and have a blast but not be intrusive, or you're worried about your local laws, I think this is the kind of this is one of those kinds of quads that really fits in that niche really well.
Is that, you mean because of the weight limit? And
yeah,
size?
because it's easily going to be under 100 grams, like so easily, and then it's got enough power to still be a fun quad, like, and you can still practice all your tricks. You can get upside down, do your inverted yaw spins. You could probably do a trippy spin on it, which you're going to try later, aren't you, Stu?
Maybe with a different drone, but yeah. I'll get it for you.
Yeah.
Was your battery flat?
I wasn't watching the voltage, and it's been a while, so I put it in. I'm starting to feel a bit saggy.
Hang on. All right.
If the tune was better on that, it wasn't jittery and didn't like dip a whole bunch when you punched out, I would love this thing. That was rad. That was really rad. The sheer power to weight is unreal.
But it needs to fix that tune.
Oh yeah, fix the tune.
Maybe we'll see if we can put something down below as well, of like an update. We'll do an update, see if we can fix it.
Yeah.
Radio long range, Tony. So you've seen this thing in the air. Jono's flown it. I've flown it. Now it's up to you. We gave it to you last because I feel like you're most likely to
smash
break
it.
the
Yeah,
thing.
that's me. Yeah, that's a fair call. This is tiny. It's absolutely, like, it weighs nothing. It's got funny props on it. These little 2-blade push-on. They're the smallest motors I think I've ever seen with tiny windings on. So these look super tiny.
You mean with an open bottom, maybe? Like
yeah,
a naked
yeah,
bottom style.
yeah.
Yep.
Just interesting, and the concept of a push-on prop is different. But yeah, it's tiny, and you know, with the laws keep changing on drones, something this size, you might find it's got quite a place in your quiver. So yeah, no, it's good, and it's got a decent camera in there too. Yeah, it's nice.
All right.
Let's try.
I'll put a battery in. You can
give it a
get
go.
set up. We're on R1.
For some Reddevil action.
Yeah.
Now,
What do you think about that OSD? That stupid crosshair in the middle. I'm just.
do you know what? Back in the day, I think I used to fly with that sort of crap on there. It's terrible, isn't it? All right, let's give it a go. Oh, there we go. Oh, she's got some punch, hasn't she? Oh, and she's a bit wobbly when you drop the throttle as well. It's like it gets a bit floaty. Like air mode's not quite active when you drop the throttle down to nothing, but yeah, she's good. She's for its size, I don't think this is really what. Oh crikey!
What's that?
Every time I drop the throttle, she kind of loses stability in the air. So I was going to go over the trees, but every time you drop it down, she's a bit wobbly. But not what I was expecting from such a small little quad.
In what sense?
It feels like a 3-inch when it's flying around. It's certainly got the speed of a 3-inch. It's got the maneuverability of a 3-inch, but it's tiny. It's like the child of a 3-inch quad. It's very quick and very maneuverable. I wonder what the durability's like. Like those props don't look like they're going to take much of a smash at all. But then again, it's so light, there's not a lot of inertia to it if you do crash, not a lot of mass. With the props being pushed on, you're always going to get a chance that when you throttle up, yeah, one of the props might start slipping a touch. Whether that's cause for the oscillation, I've no idea.
Do you find the oscillations distracting?
Well, I'm flying around pretty gentle at the moment. If I give it some, to be honest, I've got so many quads with oscillations, Stu, I'm kind of used to it. No, this feels all right. It's certainly, I wouldn't pick it up and go, oh, this is a really bad quad, it's got terrible oscillations. It seems to be flying quite nicely. It's very maneuverable, like much more so than even a 3-inch. It'd be actually quite good if you had one of those little indoor tracks. I reckon this could be really good inside. Yeah, this is good. Like, I think for a tiny little quad, like it's probably under 100 grams, maybe even 50 grams, this is good. It's certainly not the sort of quad that's going to annoy people when you're down the park and they see a massive 5-inch flying around. I think, yeah, this is a very friendly little drone. This is cool. Nice little park flyer, I reckon.
All right, nice. Thanks, Tony. So you sound like you're a fan?
Yeah, I don't mind it. It's quite good.
Right.
Where's
the what?
The voltage 10.4.
Yeah, that's probably. No, wait, that's pretty good. You can go till 9 volts. How long can we fly this thing for?
I reckon that's got to be about it. you want me to?
No, keep going, mate. Keep going. Just fly around those goalposts. This is an experiment. I want to see just how long we can get. Oh, she's flashing out 8 point. Yeah, I think you better maybe bring it in. We're on 747. She's dying.
She's dead. There she goes.
All right. I think that was like maybe 4.5.
That was probably the longest we've had.
That cell really decided to die.
That's a huge flight time, Bo.
It was much more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be. Had plenty of punch. If you can get the, if you can keep the motors spinning a bit more on the when you cut the throttle and you give it a bit more stability in the air, I think that would be really good.
The wobbles don't bother you?
No, when I cut the throttle, she was kind of all.
the oscillations. Sorry.
They didn't bother me that bad. No, I thought it was okay.
Nice. All right, thanks, mate.
That's good. I like that.
That was a long flight time.
Yeah, it's over 4 minutes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sensible flying.
Just needs more.
Rightio, so there it is. There's my review of eachine's Reddevil, and overall, I don't think it's a bad drone, but I also don't think it's an amazing drone. Like, I do like what they've got in here, and if you could get the tune out and work on it a little bit, I think it would be significantly better. And I know for me, when I get a drone, I want to take it out of the box, and I kind of, for a bind and fly, I want it to be perfect straight away. So if you're willing to put the work in, it has tons of power. It's super light. There's a lot of pros to it. The only thing I would like to change is those oscillations, and that's where I feel the Sailfly, which I'll link down below as well, and I think that Sailfly is even a little bit cheaper at the moment. The Sailfly, I do think, performs better straight out of the box. But what do you guys think? Drop your comments down below. Would those oscillations bother you? Would, are you like Tony and you're like, you know what, most of his quads seem to have some bent prop or anything, it doesn't bother him too much? Or are you going to be flying around having some fun and you want to get that perfect video footage? And in which case I would say you might be better off going for the Sailfly. But other than that, subscribe for more FPV related content. I'll catch you guys tomorrow, and as always, happy flying.